Dice Company contains fantasy violence, mature themes, and unapologetic bickering. No feelings were hurt in the making of it, but listener discretion is advised. Dice Company will always be free, but it's not free to make. Please consider supporting us on Patreon or Apple Podcasts and get access to our weekly roundtable show Extra Roll. Just follow any of the links in the show notes for this chapter.
Welcome one and all to Dice Company. We're a group of old friends with tales of triumph, heroism and despair under the guise of playing Dungeons and Dragons. My name is Tom and I'll be your DM through the continuing adventures of this group of hard-drinking, hard-shopping heroes. Hard-drinking and hard-shopping heroes, please introduce yourselves and tell us one fun fact about your characters.
Hi, I'm Harry. I'm playing Tock, who's an imposing 6'8" automaton. My fun fact, will be in Tock's voice. So, my creator was Tick, and his creator was Tock. Tick followed Tock, followed Tick, followed Tock, going back until the first automaton, who was both Tick and Tock. He was constructed by the god, the Overross. Tick Tock had a body of wood and feet of clay, until the event known as Storm's Fall. Then, the Overross gifted him sentience by sharing the milk of human kindness. Later, the Overross shared his knowledge of automaton construction with the builders.
Well, damn.
I didn't know if I could talk in his voice for that long.
We have a new best fact.
So hello, I'm Dave and I am playing Bennie. Bennie has always been quite bright and keen to learn. Brought up in an orphanage, he didn't really have access to formal education, but he taught himself to read through a book that he found lying about the place. It was called The Chronicles of the Fellowship of Cantioch, and it was a series of tales about a group of adventurers, and Bennie was very keen on it and read it over and over again, taught himself to read in this fashion.
Another amazing fact. You guys are absolutely on fire tonight. Oh my God. I mean, not only is that great, you're gonna draw in other listeners for the actual Fellowship of Cantioch. They're going to love that name check. Much love to the Fellowship of Cantioch.
My name is Alex. I'm playing Augustus Zeno. And my fun fact this week is that Augustus was a great polo player as a young man until the age of 18, when both he and his horse failed a drugs test on the same day.
Oh, it's very clearly not as good as the others, but I do love it. I'm going to give that the full mark because it's very Augustus.
Yay! Well.
Now, everyone quiet for Vander's fact.
Okay, so you got just to be clear, you guys are 3 for 3 for the first time ever. This might be the perfect introduction.
Hi, everyone. I'm Charlie. I play Vander Finnick. And as listeners will know, or as Chris will know, Vander is horribly disfigured as a result of torture. He is, in fact, the most tortured person walking currently. And of all the tortures he experienced, the most brutal was with a spork. We can't go into the details of it. It's just too horrible for our listeners or listener.
Was it in a service station? Was he tortured next to an M&S salad?
The torture was just being given the spork instead of more calorie. Outrage!
Well, 3.5's not bad. Very good. That's a new record for you guys.
I'll take the half. That was on the hoof. I'll take the half.
All right. Well done, everyone. Let's get stuck into Dice Company. We left off last time with the group having met Vander's contact in Slateholm, the gnomish gang leader Gearhead. She hired you for a job and has requested you return the following day to be stowed aboard the first ever steamrunner transportation vehicle. The steamrunner will be running a complete loop of the local area over the course of a day, with 0 stops. When on board, your only mission is, in and of itself, quite straightforward, to take possession of a ring belonging to Gearhead, currently in the clutches of Lady Sophia Calibri from Alphon. Augustus, you awaken to the loud sound of glasses being clinked together. As you peel your eyes open one at a time, you can see Bennie eating a piled high plate of breakfast. Opposite him, Tock is reading a large parchment blueprint. Vander then hobbles in with his arms full of stuff.
Morning, gentlemen. How are we all? How are you, Augustus?
Who are you? Have I joined a cult?
Oh, hiya, Augustus. Hiya. How are you doing?
Ah, you have regained consciousness.
Johnson breakfast. It's really tasty. These eggs are right runny. They're delicious. Do you want to give them a go? Do you want to?
I suspect you have been poisoned. Would you like medical assistance?
Yes. And my mother.
Vander sits down at the table showing absolutely no signs of being hungover.
Augustus, as you sit up, can you please roll a d20 for me?
Oh, God.
Of course, I'd be delighted. 13.
As you sit up, you have a mild headache, but you're confident that you'll be okay in the long run. But it's important you never drink again.
Tock will pass him a small vial and say, open this and breathe in, but do not consume.
Thank you, Tock. And Augustus breathes in, but definitely does not consume.
Okay, so inside is basically like smelling salts. So the potent sense of ammonia is just gonna... I think everyone will smell it, but it's gonna be nasty as shit.
Why? Augustus tries to stuff the lid back on and drops the vial.
Which presumably smashes on the floor then.
It does smash on the floor,
Oh
and the
my
pungent
God.
smell of ammonia begins to permeate throughout the entire bar area.
I have read that this smell resets humans' perceptions.
It's character building, isn't it? Oh,
Augustus looks at the door and tries to figure out if he can get there, but he 100% can't at this point.
that might take me breakfast outside if...
What you need, Augustus, is hair of the dog. Barman, 1 creme de menthe.
Coming right up.
Creme de menthe and eggs. Ouch.
They bring you a shot of creme de menthe.
Augustus really carefully picks up the glass and puts it as far away as he can without moving the central head and chest part of his body, which is currently incapable of motion.
Suit yourself, Augustus. Gentlemen, I've been shopping, so you got a bit of a train to rob today. Thought I would supply us. I have a bit of an idea.
Bennie, at this point, wanders back in, having apparently finished the entire breakfast in the amount of time it has taken for Augustus to reject the shot of creme de menthe.
How useful from a narrative point of view.
I am here for it.
Bennie, it also is an indicator of character. Bennie can eat very quickly because he has always had to make sure nobody steals his food.
That deserves a reaction. Vander nods approvingly at the speed at which eggs can be consumed.
Augustus doesn't give a crap about any of this weird back pattery that's going on around him.
Screw it, I'm going to keep going then. Vander leads in to Augustus.
You know what my hangover cure is, Augustus?
Augustus really slowly turns his head towards Vander, showing puffy, bloodshot eyes at him, breathes out, slowly releasing noxious fumes of creme de menthe, and then turns his head back to the forward position.
Vander thinks better of this then and leans back and says,
Okay, maybe not the right time. Shall I go through the plan?
Indeed. What items did you procure, Vander?
okay, well like a gruesome Santa Claus, Vander fishes in his sack to use his morning shop to explain his plan.
Could we have a go at keeping it down? Walls have ears and all that.
And Augustus quietly wishes that Vander would stop using words like fish and sack.
Okay, Vander, being very careful about his words, his crinkling of the sack, and his tone, fishes out of the sack some accoutrements, which I am now going to go through.
Gentlemen, I think we've got to play this with a certain amount of finesse and use the skills of our crew. So, I figured our point man on this particular escapade has to be Augustus, a man of charm, if I may say so myself. I've spent a fair bit of money on this rather decadent wig.
He produces a quite ridiculous Elizabethan wig, which he hands to Augustus.
Your name for the purpose of the ride, Augustus, will be Radegard Frou-Frou Sloom. You will be playing the role of an extremely highfalutin noble from a far-off land. It's very important character-wise that we pull that off. Understand?
Augustus gives no sign of having understood that.
Excellent.
He turns to Bennie.
Bennie, my light-fingered friend, you will be our burglar on this mission, but we have to, of course, conceal that. So you will be playing the role of Sloom's physician. Your name will be Sigmund von Penicillin.
He's okay. Maybe I need to work on my names.
We'll just call you Sigmund. Feel free to amend the name as you wish. And Tock, you will be playing the role of Sloom's bodyguard.
And he passes Tock a mallet.
I mean, surely you have to come up. I want to know what Sloom's bodyguard is called.
His name is Franz Hammer.
Gonna take all of our acting ability to pull this off. Okay.
Take some extraordinary persuasion rolls here.
I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm looking forward to it.
One quick thing, Vander. I don't think I can keep Dr. Sigmund von Penicillin stuck in my mind. Can we try and simplify it just a touch?
And feel free to amend as you see fit, my friend. And I will be Sloom's advisor and announcer.
Okay, I mean, we're obviously 100% going to need that name as well, just for the official record.
Oh, no, right. My name is Gary Pencil.
There you go.
Gary Pencil.
Gary Pencil, because I have a giant ledger. I've also got one more piece of equipment here. The main
plan, gentlemen, is for Radagard Frou Sloom to charm the ring off the target's finger. But should that fail, I have a blow dart, which I will use to incapacitate her, and that will be the cover through which Sigmund, our physician, can examine her, administer the antidote.
And Vander passes Sigmund a small vial, not of piss.
Just now that needs to be clarified.
And you can slip the ring off her finger while examining her. Does that make sense?
Says, not laughing. Was it serious? And Dad is a serious guy.
Sense. I mean, Augustus is in no case to take this up.
I have a couple of queries. I guess firstly, it sounds somewhat over-engineered, but fundamentally not a bad plan. But I guess my second concern is, how is our good friend Augustus going to get his charisma levels up to the appropriate point, given the absolute state of him at the moment?
I could procure more smelling salts.
Augustus, please roll a d20.
Okay, I think the D20 may be related to your hangover.
18.
You've got a second wind. You feel pretty amazing. In fact, you're pretty sure nothing is impossible. You get advantage on your next roll, whatever it is.
Okay.
Augustus grins stupidly at the whole party.
We will purchase some coffee en route to Gearhead.
Right. A couple of minor points. Love your name in Vander. Love the creativity. Great stuff. Don't want to box you in or anything. Let's drop Frou from old Radagard's name, because I can remember Radagard Sloom. That's fine. I'll just be Dr. Sigmund, and then that can be either first name or last name, and it's a lot more straightforward.
He could be Dr. Sigmund. Sigmund?
Right.
Is that a normal human name?
That will be the fallback.
Works for me.
I mean, is it normal for people to have fallback names? Is that not more?
It does feel very quite lazy of us not to have come up with a full name.
I'll freestyle it.
And I will just be Gary then.
We were suggesting that we use fake names whilst we were in this settlement.
Oh, perfect.
I think these ones need to be temporary.
Two birds, one stone. This is obviously great.
So, once again, just to clarify, Radagard Sloom, Dr. Sigmund.
Just Dr. Sigmund.
Sorry, Dr. Sigmund, but also Sigmund, just in case, as a fallback.
Yep.
Franz Hammer. Gary Pencil.
It's been a really, really tough day, okay? I have been living second to second, okay?
So you've gone fantasy name, German name, more German name, not a name.
Welcome to my mind palace.
Okay, cool.
He's got really into mindfulness, so he's not allowed to plan anything at all.
I'm absolutely living in the moment.
I think, yeah, so gentlemen, we're going to use a mixture of charm and to get through the carriages, I think.
A mixture of charm and? It wasn't the second half of that sentence?
Second to second.
Okay, sorry.
I just like to point out, so Tock's got a large mallet for a weapon?
Yes.
But the name of Hammer...
a carpenter's mallet, or what are we talking here?
My guess was it would be a big wooden mallet like a carpenter would use for leveling things rather than for actually hitting things. Because it's a wooden mallet. So
we as a crew are not rich, okay? I blew a lot of money on the wig. Okay, so, I mean, there's very little else to go around. Oh, I do apologise, though. I did get a couple more implements, which Vander now passes out.
To you, Sigmund, I have a white coat, should you choose to wear it, and a scalpel.
I was about to ask, actually. I didn't think my outfit was necessarily doctorish.
You were about to ask about a scalpel.
I was not about to ask about a scalpel. I will wear a white coat. I think I can probably do without the scalpel.
Up to you, of course.
Extremely weird line of questioning if after...
If someone asks you for your middle name, you're going to need a scalpel.
Just a quick query. What is Radigard's purpose on train, and why has he got a doctor travelling with him?
Radigard is that auspicious, noble, and wholly valuable that he needs a doctor at all times, because his life is that important.
Syphilitic, yeah?
Yes, and he's syphilitic.
I think I can play ill, unwell.
There you go. Perfect.
Should we get some coffee or something into him before we go and visit Gearhead? See if we can sort him out a touch.
I turn to the bartender.
What do you want?
The strongest coffee you can provide. Thank you.
What's coffee?
Okay.
Augustus swats a fly that's not there.
We'll find some on the way.
Question about Slay Home. Is there a boutique coffee shop on the way to Gearheads?
Coffee doesn't exist in this world, so no.
What sort of world is it?
This is rapidly becoming a world I don't want to live in.
Tock will say to Vander and say, point to spear and shield and a large rucksack full of things, and say, Vander, are these items a problem for this job?
I think the rucksack should probably stay here, as should really everything you mentioned.
They should not be seen.
No, I don't think they add to your image as a bodyguard, Tock.
Okay, in which case Tock will take a reasonable sized bag from inside his rucksack. Was it 2 foot wide? Looks like a sack, and he'll proceed to put the 6-foot spear inside the bag, then his shield inside the bag, and then his entire rucksack, apart from one case, also goes inside the bag, all of which can definitely not fit inside the bag. He then ties up the bag, which appears to be empty, and puts it in a pocket.
Tock?
Yes, Bennie.
Magic bag?
The bag uses a small demi-plane that is attached to this plane.
Could I pop a few bits and bobs in there? I did, in pub, but which probably wouldn't be carried by a nobleman's doctor.
What items would not be carried by a nobleman's doctor?
Yes, Bennie, what items?
For example, a bow and a crowbar.
Are these items not used by doctors?
They are not used by doctors commonly.
You would be welcome to use my bag.
Thank you very much. So I pop a few items into Tock's bag of holding.
You make the short walk to Gearheads, but unlike the day before, you're all getting looks now. Most people see you and grin, while a couple of passers-by greet both Vander and Augustus directly by name and congratulate you on being alive after what you drank the night before.
Lovely low profile, lads. Well done.
Bennie, you notice the shopkeeper from yesterday walk by and he says, "Hello, Bennie."
Thank you for underlining my points. Nice to see you again.
You reach Gearheads and are waved in by the 2 guards and through reception without having to give up your weapons. Gearhead is stood waiting and smiles at you all. "Hello, my friends. Are you ready?"
We were born ready, Gearhead.
"Wonderful. Now look here. These are the compartments I want you to get into." And she highlights 4 large, coffin-shaped metal containers in the flooring of the steamrunner's engine compartment. As she shows it to you, she highlights a small latch button on the inside. She climbs in, closes the lid, and you hear a click from inside and the lid pops open and she gets back out. Simple as anything. So, once you're on the move, the drivers, and I use that word loosely, leave the engine room for a break. You can get out and you'll have free run of the steamrunner. Then, when you have the ring, you get back into the containers, close the lid, and wait for the steamrunner to finish its day-long loop of the surrounding areas. When it comes to stop, the engine carriage will be taken to the storage depot on the southwest outskirts of the city. Head back in, bring me the ring, and I'll give you your money and your wood. Got it?
Tock won't reply, but he will just briefly inspect the hidey hole things for stuff like air. Will people who are sealed in here be able to breathe? He doesn't need to be able to, but the others is probably important.
It'd be such a weird end for all the quests for us to just get into 4 coffins and that would be the end.
There are plenty of oxygen holes to allow breathing.
Benny has a quick glance in. Bear in mind, Augustus, if you're sick, there's nowhere for it to go.
All right, in your pup.
Lovely.
Vander gets very awkwardly into his travel coffin.
The 6% of Augustus's brain that's still technically alive vows vengeance on Bennie, but right now he's got bigger problems.
With you guys in, it doesn't take long for each of you to start hearing the sounds of machinery clanking, followed by a sudden jerking sensation as you are lowered into the ground. You can make out the sounds of voices talking and footsteps on the metal flooring above you. Once your descent stops, there is a loud click as the wheels are attached to the rail, and a burst of crackling heat reaches your faces as you start to move. Augustus, roll a d20, please.
Another 13.
You're confident now that you're through the worst of the hangover. In fact, you feel quite buzzing.
Despite having been lowered into a hole and hit with a blast of hot air, this feels like the torture specially designed for the hungover to expire.
A short while later, the carriage bumps into another one as it's connected to the steam runner's carriages. You can hear the movement of heavy boots in the engine room, and once the gentle chugging of the steam runner reaches a steady speed, the boot steps all head towards one end of the carriage. A heavy metal door is opened and shut, and then silence.
I press the little button.
And it opens.
I'd like to glance about the cabin.
I take it you're trying to do this stealthily?
Yes.
Give me a stealth check and then an investigation check.
14 for stealth and 15 for investigation.
Solid.
You look around the main driver's section of the head of the steam runner. As you lift the lid carefully and slowly and peer out, you can see a pair of boots laying on a bed. They are unmoving. There is a gentle sound of snoring echoing through the carriage.
So I tap on the lid of the nearest box.
Vander.
Click. And I sit up.
I'm kind of standing over him with my fingers to my lips.
I acknowledge the sign and then push my hands out in a signal of what's going on.
I think there's a guard just over there, but he's asleep. So just be a bit careful.
I might pass this to Bennie. I open my ledger, my key part of my disguise, in which I've carved a hole, Shawshank Redemption style, where my blowpipe with the blow darts sit.
Bennie, I wonder if you might be able to creep up and sedate the guard.
How many of these have you got?
20.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think, Vander. Do we want to do that to him? Isn't it better for him to let him sleep naturally than if he wakes up later and we're gone? Nobody's any the wiser. They find a guard who can't be awoken.
We could hit him with 3 darts. Put him in a very heavy sleep. Was I not the doctor? You'd know best.
Oh, actually, yeah, we're never going to sneak Tock past him, are we?
No previous experience says no.
All right, I'll deal with guard. You wake up the other 2.
Understood.
Love the image of trying to sneak Tock past anything.
Vander does as Bennie said.
Tock, you hear a knock on the lid of the coffin that you're in.
Tock will press the button and open up.
I'm going to creep up behind the guard and attempt to use the blowpipe to sedate him.
Oh, give me a stealth check.
24.
Nice.
So moving quietly on the metal grated floors, there are 6 sleeping compartments in this carriage, and from what you can see, each of them has a pallid-skinned gnomish creature. These don't look like normal gnomes. Their skin colour is kind of grey and pale, but they all appear to be asleep. They're snoring gentle and rhythmic.
Vander has signalled to Tock to be quiet.
Tock isn't making any noise.
I creep back. Tock, got an idea. Do you want to lend us your bag for a minute?
So Tock, rather than speaking, will produce a small flat tablet, about 4 inches or so, and scroll on it with his finger, and writing will appear behind it. This is more magical tinkering, Dom. So writing will appear behind. Essentially, ask what your plan is, and also suggest for a short distance he may enter the bag of holding and be carried.
See, the thing is, Tock, we need to do a little bit of creeping, and that's not really your forte. So why don't you pop in bag for a minute? Sneak past these guards. You can hop out.
Vander nods approvingly.
Tock will write on the little tablet again. He'll say, "I find this to be agreeable," in writing. But then before I will need 1 minute and some wax. And he goes into his bag, gets out some sealing wax that he has, and starts sealing the edge of the case that he's got that's normally attached to the bottom of his bag. Once he's finished doing that, he'll then climb into the bag.
Nothing Tock does make sense to me. Nothing.
Okay, Dom, it does make sense, right?
Yeah, I get it.
Okay, cool.
Tock, with the sealed leather pouch, climbs into the bag of holding.
I mean, Tock, stuff. You might as well just say, like, I butter my thighs and squash 2 kiwis.
But every time the DM goes, quite right.
Yeah, good call.
Yeah, of course.
I don't think we should criticise Harry for knowing how to play the fucking game.
Anything less than 2 kiwis, and we would have had a hootenanny on our hands.
I would explain the stuff I'm doing, but it's really not Tock's sort of thing. So.
And Vander goes to release Augustus.
I mean, nothing says hangover cure like coughing, does it?
Vander, you wander over to the 4th compartment, give it a knock, and with a click and a pop, Augustus enters the room. Augustus, please roll a d20.
Oh, God. Not now.
10.
As you clamber out, a wall of heat hits you in the face. The engine room has a raging furnace which appears to be crackling with energy and heat. It has given you an immediate mild headache, but you're confident you'll be okay.
We must be quiet, Your Eminence.
Augustus nods regally.
Snap to it, Augustus. There's 6 guards there. We can't knock them all out and expect nobody's going to notice. So I reckon we just try and creep past them and get ourselves into the main part of the train.
Vander nods and opens his ledger, gesturing for Bennie to replace the blow dart, and then closes the ledger when the blow dart goes in. I'm going to let Bennie lead the way.
So I'm going to creep past these 2 and then just check whether I can tell the next ones.
You look in and you can hear more rhythmic snoring, and 2 more pallid gnomes are asleep.
Continue to creep onwards. 2 more pallid gnomes?
Yep, both asleep.
Can I do an investigation?
You can, and you can do a stealth check along with it. And Augustus, you can do a stealth check as well.
Okay, my investigation is 22. Just to see if there's any kind of further things in the carriage, like a banana skin that I'm about to...
No, there are no traps or banana skins or any of the like.
Did you say, DM, that I'd get my next throw at advantage?
I did say that.
So I can be advantage stealth. It's good for me because... Oh my god.
I got stealth 4 as well.
With advantage 4.
Oh, heavy armor. Oh god.
Yeah, I was going to say, but the thing is, Al, you can take your armor off.
Should I be taking my armor off? I mean, I feel like taking my armor off in this corridor is probably going to be one of the least stealthy things a person could do. Maybe before we go into the party, I should take off my armor.
Well, I've rolled a 4 anyway, so...
So as you make your way along the metal grated floor, your boots both clang and click, and the snoring of the 6 gnomes stops momentarily, and then continues again. Ooh. Bennie, you have reached the door.
I'm going to get Tock out of the bag.
Well, like all of him, or just so you can talk to him?
No, it's time for him to get out, I think.
Okay, then Tock will climb out the bag.
Elevator this time. Elevator up out of the bag.
Does he look at his watch on the way up?
Of course. And combs his hair.
I mean, it felt like a really smart thing to do, but then everyone rolled a 4 on stealth anyway, so...
Yes, they did.
Is this door... I'd like to look at this door, see if it appears to be locked.
Oh, it definitely is locked. As you try the handle, it's definitely locked.
I would like to attempt to unlock it.
Oh, can you give me a thieves' tools check, please?
26.
Wow.
Got quite a good modifier there.
In less than 3 seconds, you put your thieves' tools in, and there's an immediate click, which unlocks the door. Once again, the snoring stops. And then starts again.
I open the door and decide to stroll through confidently.
I will go with him.
Carriages. A cockatrice transportation carriage. They rip Bennie to shreds.
You find yourselves in the storage carriage. It's dark and cool in comparison to the engine carriage. There are no windows, so you can't see what the outside scenery looks like. And as you look around the carriage, it's full of luggage, travelling packs, suitcases, crates and boxes. They seem to be precariously tied into place using very thin rope, and it's quite difficult to see a way to navigate through. Can I have perception checks from everyone, please?
Tock will hold up his little tablet to Bennie again and say, on it, Gearhead said any items we found on the train apart from the ring would be ours.
I've rolled a 21.
10 for Augustus.
20 for me.
I rolled a 4. Tock's distracted by writing.
Vander and Bennie, you both hear rummaging coming from further down the carriage.
I'm going to close the door behind us so we're not going to wake up the gnomish folk. And I explain the noises to the other two who didn't hear that.
Bennie, might you be able to investigate?
Well, seeing as I'm apparently the only person who can walk forward without making a clattering noise, I suppose I ought to. So yeah, I creep forward, see if I can identify the source of the sound.
Stealth check, please.
This is where I'm going to be hoisted by my own petard, isn't it? 20.
Oh!
I can't score 4 on a stealth check, so I was always going to beat you guys.
Oh well, your petard remains unexploded for now.
Not sure, I don't know what a petard is.
It's a mine, isn't it? Or like
Yeah.
a big explosive backpack kind of thing.
Yeah, medieval kind of bomb, yeah.
Bennie, as you make your way down the carriage carefully, you find yourself edging around a large crate, and you suddenly see the behinds of a man and a woman in neat blue uniforms, which you recognise as that of the Bounders.
I would like to stealth my way back to the group.
That's fine. You're still you passed the stealth check before, so
When you get back, Tock is still discussing with Augustus the word petard.
Bounders up ahead, lads. Maybe a couple of your blow darts might not be a bad idea here, Vander.
Be able to take down one with a blow dart, but we'll need something for the other.
Tock will...
Gonna use the mallet!
yeah, Tock will have to...
One gets the expensive tranquilizer, one gets the cheap one, okay?
Although, I'm going to point out, he's still not great with...
Oh god, okay. Well, if that's the plan.
I feel like Augustus might be able to just bluff past them here. They might defer to an aristocrat in this situation.
Okay.
Radagast Sloom is going to step from the shadows, cigarette in hand, because that's going to be my reason for being in this little carriage.
I'm guessing bodyguard should probably be next to him rather than the other two, or...
I think others just lurk for now. I wouldn't get too...
I'm gonna go with, because I'm your introducer, aren't I?
And I'm your personal physician.
So
I think it would be weird if...
So we're all
Apparently,
gonna be...
when I go for a smoke, I've got my full staff. I never go anywhere without my manicurist.
give me a stealth check.
Oh god. I'm still wearing my armour.
Tock will guide you by trying to say, don't fall over any bags. You have an extra D4 to that
It's a
check.
very good idea. What a roll. That's beautiful. So that's so 16 plus 2, 18.
The Bounders have no idea you're approaching and are still rummaging through the crate as you turn the corner behind them.
Gentlemen.
Oh! And they both bang their heads on the crate. Oh, what the fuck is that? Oh, hello.
I turn in disdain to Vander and gesture to him to introduce me.
Introducing His Holiness, Lord Sloom. You are honoured to be in his presence.
Vander genuflex.
I nod gravely to suggest that they are indeed honoured.
The two Bounders look at one another. It's an honour to meet you, Sir Sloom.
Lord Sloom.
Lord Sloom. Sorry.
I walk forward and Augustus walks forward and peers at them as if someone's just pointed out some interesting animals hiding at the back of a cage in a zoo. Gary, what on earth are these creatures doing, rummaging on the floor?
Would you like their names taken, your ineffable eminence?
I give the smallest nod.
Slime names.
Says Gary Pencil.
I'm Barry Trotter, and this is Larry McGivin.
God, the names are on fire tonight.
Furious scribbling.
So, like, all the best stories have Larry, Barry, Gary, and Radagard.
My liege, am I marking these for death, or merely a punishment of their superiors' making?
Augustus appears to have lost the thread of the conversation and just stares at the wall above their heads.
You are...
Oh,
You are honoured that His Most Denothlian Majesty has chosen...
Denoflian? Did you say a Denoflian?
Gary, stop being ridiculous.
Gary has a coughing fit.
Excuse Gary. Sir Sloom employs him out of pity mostly, but he has absolutely no idea what he's talking about most of the time, as you've probably noticed. Sir Sloom, should we be moving on?
Yes, you're quite right, Sigmund. Do forgive my manicurist. He knows not what he speaks.
1,000 apologies, Doctor.
I obviously need persuasion or deception checks from all of you.
Well, Tock hasn't
Except for Tock.
yet.
Tock is a sweetheart.
17 for deception from me.
23 for persuasion from Augustus.
Well, a rather unsurprising 7 from Gary.
We're going to go with the overall average.
I mean, I think that kind of makes sense, doesn't it? Because Harry is being presented as a nitwit, and that's what the others are saying. So his low persuasion fits the bit.
Well, apologies, my lord. We'll get out of your way. Come on, Barry, let's go.
Okay.
I'm going to update my notes.
And they both begin to make their way to the south, and they leave the compartment.
If we're walking past, Tock's going to have a look in whatever crate they were looking in.
Give me an investigation check.
Augustus is going to lose the armor.
Tock rolled a 27.
Tock, from your investigation into the crate they were looking into, you find a small bottle full of red liquid. Appears to have a slightly silvery undertone to it.
Are we talking claret, or are we thinking something like a healing potion?
We are thinking something like a healing potion.
Okay, I will. I'll bring it to the group's attention, but
Cool. You also find a small stone which appears to have 4 carvings on it. There is a flame. There's kind of 2 sets of different wavy lines, and then there is a kind of half-drawn circle. You also find a javelin.
So I'll bring the healing potion to everyone's attention. I think that the carved stone I'll stow for now. And in terms of the javelin, I don't think this is probably the time to be waving it around, so I'd probably chuck that in the bag. But again, everyone will see. Tock's not going to do it surreptitiously. Bennie is meant to be the doctor at the moment, so I'll pass him the healing potion.
That's committing.
I like it.
Thank you.
Gentlemen, can anyone suggest what those men were looking for?
Well, bounders tend to be looking for signs of us.
Signs of us.
Pissy fingers.
They were up to something, weren't they?
They may have been attempting to remove these items. There may have been more items in the crate before.
Yeah, possibly. But on whose say-so, I wonder?
Yes.
Maybe something to keep an eye out for.
I suspect the answer lies in the carriages down the train.
Tock will have a look back at the carriage and say, there may be many more items in the other luggage.
I suggest, Tock, we better make progress as quickly as possible.
And maybe as if we could not say that old Radagard is from Denoflia. That'd probably be helpful in future. Of course, apologies, Vander, if I came across like Dr. Sigmund thought you were some kind of fool. Of course, that was entirely in character.
Tall, Doctor. I think it's best we stay in character. Adds to the deception.
Very well.
Well, servants, onwards.
Your words, my will.
Okay, you are now in, as the blueprint tells you, the sleeping carriage. The sleeping carriage has 10 rooms in it, 5 on each side. All the doors are closed, but there doesn't appear to be any movement or sound coming from any of them. Now, the entire carriage is covered in wooden panel boards, which mask the metal frame of the steam runner.
What's the time of day?
It's still kind of morning towards midday.
Gentlemen, since we ought to expect our quarry to be awake at this hour, I suggest we don't create further difficulties for ourselves by breaking into 10 sleeping carriages and inviting capture.
A good idea, my lord.
Very well. Where would you like to go, sir?
Enjoying the deferential attitude, Dr. Sigmund. Straight along the carriage, out the other end.
As you wander past this door here, you suddenly get the overwhelming smell of incense burning. It's a very kind of pleasant floral smell, and you can hear humming coming from inside the compartment.
So I sort of whisper to the others, does this mean anything to anyone? Anyone recognise this smell?
Would that be a perception check, DM?
Yeah, you can give me a perception check if you want.
17.
Vander, you know that as a particular type of incense that is used in carnivals and circuses. It's specifically used to entice people in order to pay money for.
I'm going to explain to the group that I think this is a scam and that we should carry on.
Tock will look, again, very confused, but won't I say anything.
Yeah, Augustus is not objecting to that. He's happy to carry on past the weird incense room.
By the way, I don't know if we passed any windows or anything, but do we know what's outside the train? Is it tunnel or is it open air?
It's open air. It would be countryside. So the countryside of Ovik, which is mountainous but covered in greens and trees. It's beautiful country, really. Upon entering the carriage, the kitchen carriage, you're met with the smell of roasting meat and vegetables. Immediately on your left and right are 6 rooms. The doors are open. Glancing inside reveals stained and dirty white cook's clothes. Down the end of the carriage, you can see a number of grey-skinned gnomes, similar to the ones that you saw that were asleep. They're taking trays out of wood-burning ovens. The hot cooked meals are then placed on wooden boards, which are quickly sliced and cut by another gnome. The process forms something of a dance as they efficiently prepare and plate exotic foods on a number of plates.
Anticipating Augustus's next move, Tock will guide him by saying, rely on your nobility, thus giving him D4 to his next check, which I assume he'll be making.
Yep, Augustus has 25 years of relying on his nobility, and he continues to do so by breezing down the carriage, confident stride.
As you approach the grey-skinned gnomes, they immediately put down what they're holding, drop to one knee and bow their heads.
Don't think you even did a roll.
Augustus waves a royal hand and strides past them towards the door at the other end.
Yep, we'll follow.
Okay.
The change from the previous carriage to this one is stark. Rich furnishings, thick, heavy carpeting, and gold leaf finish to the dark wood immediately give the sense of class and sophistication. As you know from the blueprints, there are only 2 ensuite cabins in this carriage, the first of which belongs to Lady Sophia Calibri of Alphon.
Gentlemen, we're approaching our target.
A quick question, Vander. Where did we decide Radegard Sloom was from?
Never Kanza.
That's fine. I'm a hungover, bewigged, top hat wearing Wild West prince.
Actually fits pretty well.
Yes, fine. I look forward to combining all those accents into one thing.
barely even role playing at this point.
So you guys are in the fancy carriage.
I think perhaps, Dr. Sigmund, you might like to take the first peek around the corner just to make sure we're not going to run into any bother.
Well then, I'll have a peek around the corner. In a stealthy, dignified fashion. 24 on stealth.
Very quietly and carefully you stare down the long corridor. You can see 2 doors, both on the right-hand side of the direction that you're standing. You can see no other forms of life or anything else of interest.
Appears there's nobody around, sir.
Okay, I think we're back to Radegard striding along and everyone trailing in his wake. Okay, so quietly now, gentlemen, thoughts? Should we attempt to seek her out in the open? Do we know if she's likely to be wearing this ring? I think the chances are that she will be wearing it if it's of such value. In which case, maybe we would be better to try finding her out in the open rather than sneaking around in her carriage and arousing any suspicions.
I suggest, my lord, we knock and see if she's there, because seeing her on her own would be an advantage to us.
Very well. Stand back, men. So Augustus raps on the door.
There is no response.
Well, gentlemen, we ought to carry on. I wonder, Bennie, whether as we...
Lord Sloom, do you mean Dr. Sigmund?
Quite right, Franz Hammer. I do mean Dr. Sigmund. Dr. Sigmund. Perhaps your scalpel could allow you at least the gentlest of perusals of the room while we carry on and attempt to loudly waylay anyone who we meet in the next carriage, or towards the end of this carriage.
I would be willing to have a light peruse.
We're going to Scooby-Doo this, are we, and split up?
I would like to check for any signs of traps or anything, if she's kind of put something to see if anyone's been in the carriage or anything like that. You know how people put bits of tape or whatever.
Perception.
Or investigation?
Perception.
9.
You can't see any signs of traps, but you do notice that the door is locked.
I will attempt to open it.
Cool, give me a thieves' tools check.
21.
Easy, like a hot knife through butter. Your thieves' tools go through the lock, opening the door.
I let myself in.
You open the door, step in, and as you step in, you suddenly feel a tug on your left foot,
Oh, balls.
ringing out around the compartment. Alarm! 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 Alarm!
Is there a window or anything?
There
I'm not going to jump out.
There are two windows in the room, and you can see the beautiful countryside of Ovik flashing by at
The
speed.
salmon of Ovik.
I dash to a window and open it wide, and then I return to the door.
Give me an athletics or acrobatics check.
It's natural 20 for 24.
Almost hand-springing over to increase your speed. You leap over a beautifully designed sofa, open a window, which causes an enormous sound from the outside as the countryside whooshes past, and you're able to get back to the open door quickly, while the alarm continues to ring. Alarm! Alarm! Alarm!
Why is Dr. Sigmund doing a bunch of backflips in that compartment?
And I call out loudly, "Gentlemen, it appears the thieves have already escaped. We've searched the compartment, and the window's wide open. They must have exited that way."
Gary continues to scribble.
From down the corridor, Barry and Larry begin sprinting down. What's going on here?
Gentlemen, my physician here we heard an alarm and my physician went in to investigate what had happened, and he tells me the compartment is empty and the window is wide open. Quick! Out the window!
Perception check, please. And also roll a d20 for me.
Oh.
Deception
Not good
first.
time. Oh, deception 7.
Roll a d20.
Oh no. 19!
Terrible liar, but you feel great about it.
I was going to say, you do technically still have the guidance from before. It's only been a minute or so, hasn't it? Then you get a d4 for that. So
Roll a d4 to add to it. Could make all the difference.
Oh.
And a 4 to add.
Making the total 11. The two bounders look suspiciously at you for a moment, and then they say, okay, my lord. That's fine. We'll take it from here. If you want to head, I presume you're heading to the entertainment caboose?
Well, yes, we were heading to the entertainment, either there or to report any strange behaviour by guards on the train.
There's a moment of silence between the two of you, and then one of them moves out of the way to let you past.
Augustus strides by. Quick, Gary, come with me.
Yes, my liege.
As I pass, I say, "Gentlemen, the door was open when I arrived. I believe I saw a figure exiting the window. It seems very hard to believe that they would still be alive if that was the case, however." And I continue on my way.
Deception check, please.
So much of this is hard to
I
believe.
think you should diagnose one of them with a calcium deficiency. Really play on their nerves.
12.
Annoyingly, that is enough.
They're not very bright, old Barry and Larry.
Quickly, out the window. Oh, Stock helps them get out the window. I feel like we should report those bounders quickly so they're found in the room.
100%. If we find someone to report them to, we definitely say that we found them rooting around in the luggage compartment and chased them off. And then they quickly legged it down the train and broke into a carriage.
You step into what you know to be the entertaining caboose. There are rich fabrics everywhere, and there is the smell of incense burning. You can hear chitter-chatter coming, and the compartment appears to be quite busy. The first thing you see, sipping from a smoking goblet, is a dwarven woman with long red hair tied into buns. At the end of the carriage, you can see a incredibly well-dressed woman talking to two uniquely dressed men. Augustus, you immediately recognize the wealth and prestige of the woman. She must be a member of the elite.
I mutter to Radegard. Radegard, would there be any value in suggesting to Lady Sophia that there are a couple of bounders poking about in her carriage?
I had considered that, Dr. Sigmund. My reservation is that she may wonder how we know that the carriage belongs to her. Our prior studying of the blueprints of this train being a somewhat difficult thing to explain. Perhaps we could set off to interact with her as quickly as possible and perhaps mention this strange thing that we witnessed. These two hooligans ransacking carriages and luggage racks and stealing broth from the kitchens. So with that in mind, Augustus is going to sort of head off down the carriage, not meaning to engage these first people, but obviously I don't know if people are going to engage him.
Okay, as you pass the dwarven woman, you can smell the strong, pungent smell of alcohol coming from her drink, even from this distance. In the next section beyond, there are an orc, male and female, who look a little bit uncomfortable, and opposite them is a bounder who only has eyes for the two of them. The two orcs are dressed in traditional orcish ceremonial fighting apparel, which is in superb condition. As you pass, they raise their goblets in your direction.
Trying to work out what to do here, whether to report the two bounders to the other bounder. I'm looking around at the others to see if anyone's got a view on that, because Augustus is still super hungover.
Don't snub the other passengers.
Augustus is certainly going to nod to the orcs who've raised their glass to him.
They smile a little bit uncomfortably.
This feels like something worth investigating. Anyone got a strong view on what we do here?
Vander mutters to
Augustus, target up ahead, my liege.
Augustus nods and keeps going.
On the next comfortable set of sofas, you see a man sat alone drinking a glass of water. He's tall and slender with pointed elven ears. His pale skin almost glistens, and he barely registers you as you wander by. His eyes are focused towards the back of the caboose.
That's fine. Happy with that. He's creepy as hell, but let's keep going.
As you head further down, on both sides you see two enormous great men. One of them is bearded, the other is bald and covered in tattoos. They appear to have weapons around their waists, and they are sat bolt upright, staring. The moment you come into view, both of their eyes fall upon you.
It's just getting scarier and scarier as we go down the carriage.
I'm just super glad I took my chainmail off. I think Augustus is going to just keep striding confidently.
You can hear the conversation coming from the three people who are now stood directly in front of you.
Augustus waves to Tock and Bennie to keep their distance, so I'm kind of hoping they'll have a sense of servitude and they'll take up inconspicuous positions nearby, but not. We don't want to walk up as a four. I want those two to hang back a bit.
I'm going to plonk myself down next to this character. And I say,
Next to the bald, tattooed warrior man.
So we just got a doctor and a mercenary just sat next to each other.
He turns to face you with a stony expression, but doesn't say a word.
I say, you're hired help as well, aren't you? Just like me. Isn't it wonderful serving our aristocratic overlords?
Give me a persuasion or deception check, your choice.
23.
It is not always ideal.
Anyway, if you'll excuse me, I'm just going to take the weight off my feet for a moment while I have the chance.
And of course. And he looks across the way and nods at the other person, the bearded man, who nods back at him. And they go back to sitting and staring forward. Augustus and Vander, you approach and you can see directly in front of you is a man draped in loose-fitted silks of different colours. He does have a perfectly shaped and crafted dark beard and thick black eyeshadow. You've never really seen anyone dressed like this before. Next to him is a man with dreadlocks who is dressed in similar attire, and they appear to be laughing uproariously with the well-dressed woman. And then, you will not believe this, what happened. It was insane. There was a manticore, and it had a thorn in its paw, and so I approached it to remove the thorn, but then I slit its throat. Oh, that's excellent. Well done. We have visitors.
You have the honor of being in the presence of the flower of Nebuchadnezzar, the Almighty's representative on Earth, Lord Sloom.
Harry gestures magnificently at Lord Sloom.
I do not know the name Sloom.
Gentlemen, lady, pleasure to introduce you to the name of Sloom. I am Radagard Sloom. Who do I have the pleasure of meeting?
I am Lady Sophia Calibri, and these are my two new friends, Felix and Tombili. It is a pleasure to meet you.
It's a pleasure.
So, how did you get your ticket to this rather impressive event?
If I may, Your Eminence, His Grace does not concern himself with the getting of tickets. They are provided to him. All doors are open to His Majesty.
Augustus waves a hand as if to say he's not interested in such trifles.
Give me a persuasion check, Vander.
15.
Well, I have to say it's quite a nice idea to have someone announce you and all of your impressiveness. I must think about getting that myself.
Oh, I'd be delighted to lend you Gary here at any time.
Gary Pencil, at your service.
That's fine. I'm sure I can find someone from Alphon who could do the job. There's nothing against you, Mr. Pencil, was it?
None taken.
And another bow.
Gary, do go and sit down.
Your words, my will, my liege.
And I hobble towards the doctor, presumably.
So, Lord Sloom, what's the family business?
Well, I'd say the family concerns itself with avoiding business at all times. Leisure is my chief pursuit.
Roll a d20, please.
Oh, God.
15? We're still good?
You're still good, you're still good.
The train was about to become a vomit comet.
I completely understand. We're quite about the leisure, us Calibris as well. I presume you've heard of me.
Of course, madam, but it's a great pleasure to meet you in the flesh. I must say, your beauty far outweighs your sterling reputation.
Persuasion check.
Augustus can barely see through the hangover. 14.
Oh, you're a charmer, aren't you? And she offers you her hand. And as she offers it to you, you can see the ring made out of gold, but with a red stone in it.
I wince at the thought of Vander removing these fingers, but I gently kiss her hand and make no comment and make no particular play of looking at or otherwise sort of, I try not to show her that I've noticed the ring.
So Tom Bealey here was just telling me about the time that he slayed a manticore. I don't suppose you've got any interesting stories about slaying beasts. So you're quite a large, imposing man, if you don't mind me saying.
Yes, dozens of stories, but I'd hate to bore you. My first thought in entering this carriage is to find out where I might get a drink.
Oh, the gnomes. The gnomes get you there. Gnome! She calls down the carriage and one of the pallid-skinned gnomes begins to approach, skirting quickly between Tock and Vander. What can I get you?
A glass of your finest wine, please, Actually, I'm not going to say that. Glass of my finest wine. No, please. No, good fellow.
What type of wine?
Your finest wine.
Okay. And he skitters away. The wine and food it's okay. Obviously, I've expected better things, but it's fine. It's fine.
Of course, and what brings you aboard this? Don't know what to say now. I was going to say fine train, but she doesn't seem to like it. Now I'm thinking I shouldn't like it either. What brings you aboard this? I look around slightly disdainfully. Train.
The steam runner, yes, it's not very nice, is it? But when there are important things opening, this is the first of its kind, I am one of the people that you invite, as I'm sure you're aware, as you are also one of the creme de la creme of society.
Of course, madam. And what's your plan for the rest of the day? Just to stay here and enjoy the journey?
Well, I'll enjoy it as much as I can, but yes, food, drink, and then probably sleep until we arrive back in Slateholme.
Now, team, I'm completely stumped as to how to separate this woman from these incredible number of terrifying people around us.
I'm going to waddle forward.
Your liege, you asked to be reminded of the following transactions.
And you're going to see across my ledger, get her smashed.
My lady, have you tried Slateholme's finest and most traditional beverage?
What would that be?
Well, I understand it's a rather strange and mysterious drink called creme de menthe.
Oh, it sounds gnomish. Is it a gnomish drink?
I'd say so. It's not perhaps one for a refined palate, but when in... Oh, God, there's no Rome, is there? When in Ovik, for fuck's sake. You're talking myself into corners. Good to try the local delicacy wherever you find yourself.
Does it get you tiddly?
It certainly does.
Oh, marvellous.
Last night I was positively halfway up the walls and on the ceiling.
Well, you look fine for it, if you don't mind me saying so.
Why, thank you, madam. You should see me when I'm sober.
And the gnome approaches with a glass of white wine. Here's your wine.
Gnome! Creme de menthe, immediately. Keep it coming.
For a moment, the gnome looks at you. You just see his shoulders sag. All right. He turns back round. As he passes the elven character, you see a hand reach out and grab the wine off of the tray. And then he continues.
Oh, I didn't get my wine. Sorry, I should have snatched the wine from the tray. That's fine. I didn't say that, and so the wine is gone.
I assumed that was a nobleman power play.
Yeah, it really felt like no, I don't want that now. I want creme de menthe now.
It's no surprise that someone of your breeding hasn't noticed that.
After a short while, the gnome returns with a full bottle of creme de menthe, emerald green in colour, with 4 small crystal glasses. Here's your creme de menthe.
Wonderful. Madam, would you care to join me? And I go and sit down,
Oh, I'd love to.
totally ignoring the other dudes. I'm trying to shoehorn the other dudes out of the conversation.
Taking your hint, the two of them sit opposite.
I'm going to stand here, so I'm just as a bit of a kind of screen block. I'm trying to screen the others off a bit.
So you have the creme de menthe, you have 2 glasses, and you are sat with Lady Sophia Calibri.
Lady Sophia, let me pour a drink for you. And I pour a generous measure of creme de menthe.
Oh, you are trying to get me tiddly, aren't you?
I allay her fears by pouring a generous measure for myself, drinking it.
Oh, God!
A battle rages inside Augustus.
Humanity!
She offers you a cheers with the glass.
Yeah. Well, Augustus has already poured it down his throat, so he cheerses with the empty glass.
Oh, down in one, okay. Oh.
She pours it down. Please roll 2 d20s.
Oh, God.
I'm not sure about Augustus, but I'm pretty sure Al's been training for this moment his entire life.
An 8 and a 19.
Nice. You get advantage on your next roll. As initially you feel quite unwell after the shot, but very quickly your head feels a little light and you think, oh, maybe a little bit drunk.
Can we see what this elven character is doing? I'm going to hop up and I say to this chap, it looks like they've settled in for the duration. I think I'm going to stretch my legs, stroll up the carriage. Let's have a look at this elven chap. He's like a perception check, see if I can get any sense of what he's up to.
Yep, perception check.
Just 10.
All you can see is that he sat there with a glass of water and a full glass of wine, which is currently sat beside him, but has not been drunk.
And you say is he staring in the direction of?
Yeah, so he sees you as you kind of walk between the 2 areas. And for a moment his eyes flicker to you, but then they're back to the kind of space behind you. He's obviously concentrating very hard on listening or watching that area.
I decide to stand next to him and mirror what he's doing in a slightly dickish way.
Oh, Bennie being a dick. Who had that on the bingo card? His attention has now been drawn to you, mirroring him and his behaviour.
So, what are we looking at?
I know what I'm looking at. What are you looking at?
Well, I'd like to know what you're looking at, because it seems to be very interesting, but I can't quite work out what it is.
What's your name?
My name is Dr. Sigmund. I'm pleasure to meet you.
A doctor. Impressive. Human medicine, though.
Well, naturally. You have some medical skills yourself?
My name is Rothskill. I'm an elf, so of course I have some medical training. We are superior race.
Of course. Stands to reason. And so modest as well.
Modesty is for the weak and the ignorant.
What is of such great interest to you?
I hear conversation. There is a man up there by the name of Tom Bealey.
I'm not familiar with him, I have to admit.
Well, I am. He is currently wanted by the elves of Lanasil, and I have been sent to recover some artifacts that he has taken.
I see. How do you plan to do such a thing?
I was going to poison him, to be honest. Any thoughts as a doctor?
My first thought is it's rather odd that you're telling me this, to be frank.
Well, if I think for a second that you're going to blow my cover, then I'll kill you, too.
Can I take an insight check to see if I think he's being honest? I mean, he appears to be very straightforward.
It's pretty straightforward.
13.
He is telling you the absolute God's honest truth.
Extra chaos? Doesn't sound like a bad thing for us.
What do you have to poison him with?
I've been growing some poisoned leaves, and I've currently extracted some of the ambery juice out of them into this wine. It should kill him within seconds.
Well, there's likely to be a little uproar when that happens, surely.
It is not my concern, as long as I get the artifact back.
To be frank, Rothskill, I don't particularly object to your plan and believe that you need to do what you need to do. But I can see how this may play into what we are doing on this train. The 2 chaps here in the compartment in front of us, are they Lady Sophia's bodyguards or someone else's?
As far as I can tell, they're her bodyguards.
Sigmund's not very big on the Hippocratic Oath, is he? He's just recommending the wholesale murder of everyone in the carriage.
It's like, I like what you're saying, but I think we could probably poison more people.
Exactly.
No, all I'm thinking is if he poisons Rothskill, there'll be an alert, and good old Augustus could very kindly escort Lady Sophia back to her carriage and keep an eye on her like a wonderful, chivalrous chap. But if her bodyguards are in the way, then that's going to cause some problems.
And when we get there, the place will be saying, alarm, alarm, alarm.
Look here, Rothskill. We have certain things going on in this carriage ourselves. I'll do a deal with you. Just wait for my signal before you administer the poison. If you do that, when the poison takes effect, I will rush over and, as a doctor, attempt to administer to the patient. I will not, if you time it as I choose, I will not give any indication that this man has been poisoned, rather that he's had simply an unfortunate medical incident, which may give you a few moments to get away. What do you say?
I need to recover the artifact, but in theory, I have no problems.
What's the artifact you're after, by the way?
I would rather not say, which is important to my kind.
And how exactly do you plan to get away after poisoning a man in broad daylight?
I shall just exit through one of the windows.
Of course. Foolish of me.
Train's bleeding people out the windows the whole time.
Not sure if I mentioned it, but we elves are a superior race to humans, so a fall like that would not impact us at all.
I believe you did bring it up.
And yet you didn't listen. Strange. Anyway, that is an acceptable deal to me.
Very well. Well, it's certainly been interesting making your acquaintance. I'll return shortly.
I just want to point out, I think I would be very distrustful of a doctor who comes to a dead person and says they've had a medical incident and can't in any way be more specific.
He's depressed. He's just really depressed.
They were alive and now they're not. I'm a doctor. That's as far as I'm prepared to go.
So one of the gnomes has come over, and Rothskill informs him to take the wine up or down the caboose and hand it to Tabili, but to do it on his instructions. Augustus, you and Lady Sophia are now drunk. She takes a shot, and you see her eyes begin to kind of swirl as she begins to kind of look to faint and swoon, and she falls forward towards Vander.
I'm going to attempt to stop her crashing to the ground.
Give me a athletics check.
Yeah, I was going to say, using his impressive strength.
A 16.
Nice. All right. Yep. You actually move quick enough, drop your cane, and catch her so that she doesn't hurt herself in the fall. Bennie, you have heard a sudden commotion coming from the end of the caboose.
Dr. Sigmund, come quickly.
Tock will assist with communication.
I say to Rothskill, now might not be a bad time, and pick up my bag and hurry over.
He gives you a nod, and he sends the gnome off along behind you. So, Tock, you have seen this commotion happening, and the two bodyguards have seen it too. And they begin moving towards.
Yeah, Tock will follow.
Yeah, so Tock, you follow along behind the two guards. The gnome appears and offers the drink to Tom Bealey, whose eyes are fixed on the lady, and he's not really paying attention. And so his friend Felix takes the glass and downs it in one.
Oh, God.
Almost instantly, Felix falls to the floor and begins frothing at the mouth. And the two bodyguards kind of see the two people now. They've seen you, Vander, catch her, so they don't really see you as a threat. More as someone who's trying to protect. And obviously, Augustus, you look hammered.
I'm hammered.
Bennie.
I'm Franz hammered.
So
The gnome rushes away.
I glance around. I say, this woman's simply intoxicated. Return her to her carriage immediately. This man appears to be in greater trouble. With me! And I sort of point to the bodyguard and gesture over that I need some help.
Give me a persuasion or deception check.
20.
Nice.
Oh! The two bodyguards, who seconds ago looked concerned about Lady Sophia, respond positively to you barking instructions at them, and they begin rushing towards Felix, while Tom Bealey is becoming more and more hysterical.
Pull yourself together, man. Has this kind of thing ever happened before?
No, I don't know what is happening.
You, sir, haul open the window. Fresh air can't hurt. You, help me get him flat on the couch here.
Gary is gonna yell,
Brand, assist milady back to her cabin immediately.
Affirmative, master.
Hiss under my breath to Vander, who I assume is more dexterous than me because I'm very much not dexterous. I'm just going to say, get a ring.
okay, I'm gonna try and get the ring.
Sleight of hand check, please.
Oh, God.
I mean, she is unconscious, so I could probably give it a bit of a yank.
Tock will assist by blocking, basically, line of sight over here, and will also, to whoever said pick up, assist the lady get back, he'll say loudly, affirmative, master.
20.
So with Bennie instructing the guards to deal with Felix and having called for Lady Sophia to be taken back to her room, Vander, you are able to very carefully, you deftly remove the ring from her finger and pocket it.
Augustus gets straight onto his feet and starts singing a song and wending his way down, saying that he urgently needs dinner and this drink is too strong and it's gone to our heads.
Roll a d20.
9.
Yep, the headache's there still, but you do exactly that. You begin marching down. Bennie, you notice that Rothskill has moved up. The tall, slender elf approached the unconscious Felix. You see his hands moving incredibly quickly as he pulls a knife out of Tom Beely's pocket, slips it into his top, and then begins to leave.
He didn't go with the murder, just went with the stealing.
Okay. I am also going to follow my liege lord and beckon to Franz Hammer to continue to take Lady Sophia back to her cabin.
We need to do Operation Loot the Train, basically, now, don't we? So there might
I
be
think we
some
need
good...
to do Operation Get Out of Here.
Yeah, well, I think yes. Loot, we're sensible, but we don't need to tangle with the bodyguards anymore, do we?
So with Felix dead on the floor and Lady Sophia unconscious,
I'm still working on him.
Bennie continues to work on him.
Has the fresh air not helped him survive the poison?
You have completed your mission, but you are still on the train, and we will leave it there for the evening.
You've been listening to Dice Company's Small Embers, starring Dave Windust as Bennie Quez, Alex Morrison as Augustus Zeno, Charlie Blackadder as Vander Finnick, and Harry King as Tock, with Tom Patrick as your dungeon master.
It's incredible that you're almost able to generate the Tock voice with no actual effects. I don't know how the hell you do that.
Well,
Getting closer and closer.
I find this outro acceptable.
There's a few characters in various films that I'm basing it on, but a large part of it is the little station announcement thing at the train station.
Oh yeah,
because it's the disjointedness. So he's saying words, but they're not like flowing in a sentence.
Thanks for listening. Please consider supporting Dice Company on Patreon, where for the price of a cup of coffee, you get access to a whole other show, Extra Roll, as well as an ad-free listening experience. The Dice Company Discord server, along with our socials, can be found on our Linktree in the show notes. If you enjoyed this chapter, please like and subscribe, and don't forget to recommend us to your friends. If you didn't like it, recommend us to your enemies. And we'll see you next time on Dice Company.